Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. MC-Mura here, and in today's video I wanted to talk about how you can fight against Cody in Street Fighter 5, giving you some tips on how you can deal with him. This video obviously sucks for me to make because he is my favorite and my main character in this game, but in this series I plan to cover everyone, so eventually Cody was gonna show up. Let me first start by talking about what is probably the most abusable normal that Cody players like to do, especially on the lower levels, and that is his standing heavy kick. Obviously it's a fantastic normal because it moves a really long distance, have a long range, it's -4 on block but can be spaced to be very difficult or even impossible to punish, and obviously he can use this to set up spacing traps. Now the thing about this attack, like I said, it moves him forward, so many Cody players do this while they are walking backwards. So walking forward to block it from a closer distance and then making it easier for yourself to punish it on block is a good idea because it is -4, so you do get a punish. The other thing is that the extension of the hurt box is ridiculous. So it's like even from a really far distance, like right around here, Cammy will still be able to actually punish him on a whiff, right? So you will need to know how you can whiff punish this, but like I'm showing you, it have a lot of recovery and the hurt box extends like crazy, so it's not a hard whiff punish. Also, one of the strategies that many players like to do is to neutral jump in this range. The idea here is that the attacks moving forward, so it will whiff as you are neutral jumping, and then you get to land and punishing him upon landing. Obviously Cody have answers to this. He can heavy kick Ruffian you in this instant, but it is a strategy that some players like to do. But like I said, it's not the best in my opinion. But I figured I should say it. The other attack that they like to do a little bit in the neutral nowadays is medium kick Ruffian. If it's spaced well, again it could be -4 on block. This is like the best case scenario. And but the thing about it is like this is really hard to space actually. More often than not, it will be like -8 or -7, so you should actually practice punishing it. Practice something like Cammy standing medium, crouching medium kick. This is like a good sequence. It moves him forward quite a bit, and again his back walk speed isn't great, so if you are walking forward and blocking, you can very easily disrupt his spacing. One other thing is that if you happen to get hit by this attack, always back rise on wake up. Cody doesn't get great OK out of this, like even from here, on a back rise, if he double dash, he's -6 actually, right? So you do get to wake up and punish him forward. So after a medium kick Ruffian, always back rise on wake up, right? This is the second tip. The third one have a little bit more to do with his pressure, but it is something that I feel is important to note. Many Cody players love to end their pressure sequences with zonk. The idea is obviously it's a frame trap, so if you happen to try to press a button here, you get counter hit and then he get to follow up with a combo. So this is pretty good. The zonk itself is obviously -2, right? So it is a favorable situation. He is in throw range however, so if you happen to block this, you can throw Cody after it, or you can simply walk forward and shimmy him. So if a Cody player is abusing it against you, you can throw him or shimmy him. One of these things that are really important though is that you can V-shift punish this on reaction. When Cody does the zonk, he is saying get lost. What you have to do is hold backwards, wait for to hear the get lost, and then V-shift and you get a punish, right? This is honestly punishable by V-shift on reaction if you are waiting for it, right? So if you're like anticipating it and just heard him say get lost, immediately V-shift. Very easy now since you get to hold back while V-shifting, and you actually get to punish him for it. So it is something that we as Cody players should stop kind of abusing, but it will require some practice from the opponent. But I personally can do it against Cody's on reaction now. The other normal I wanted to address is obviously the crouching heavy punch itself. This is his other crush counter, and it is really good because it deals well with attacks like Cammy's crouching medium kick. But it's also really whiff punishable, right? So if Cody happen to whiff it, it does have a lot of whiff recovery, so you can absolutely get to whiff punish it, right? Obviously his neutral is pretty powerful, but like I showed you, most of his really dominant attacks are whiff punishable, and if the opponent is using a lot of zonks in your block string, make sure to throw or shimmy him after it on block, and you can even V-shift it on reaction with some practice. So let's now talk about the attack that the majority of the players fighting Cody have issue with, and that is obviously EX Zonk. It's an attack that on the surface seems totally broken. Obviously moves Cody about 2/3 of the screen, decently fast, leave him at a +3 advantage, knocks down on hit, can be V-trigger cancelled. It is truly fantastic. But it's not really as good as it is once you understand how Cody functions and once you actually know the matchup. First of all, when you happen to block an EX Zonk, Cody is in a +3 advantage, but he is not in throw range, right? So he can't really throw you after it. And he can't shake you low either, right? So he can do like crouching light kick, but the crouching light punch will not connect, so he can't really do this to like shake you walking back. He can do like a crouching medium kick, but this is not special cancelable, so he doesn't get any rewards out of it. It even leave him at a +3 advantage, but Cody have no 3 frame normal, so he can't really follow up on that, right? So this means that Cody have no good ways of stopping the opponent from walking backwards, right? He's not on throw range, he have to walk forward to throw you. If your character have good fast back walk speed, you can pretty much walk out of that, and he can't really shake you low with the crouching light kick and the crouching medium kick because they are not really rewarding. The only time Cody gets a real low shake after EX Zonk is with V-trigger 1, because now he gets crouching light kick, crouching light punch, but this is only with a knife. Like the only time where EX Zonk become like a true, you have to hold the situation, is when he has the knife. But otherwise, you can always simply walk backwards. Another option that you can do is to backdash, right? Backdashing is a very viable option against EX Zonk, because like I said, crouching light kick will connect, but he will not get another crouching light punch. He can shake you with like a standing medium kick, but you will get a reset. Maybe the crouching medium kick will reset you there as well. And look at this separation, you are pretty much out at this point. The only way for Cody to totally shake you here is by using the target combo, right? But the target combo is negative on block. The second hit is -6. So if Cody commits to it, he is gonna get punished, or he can do an EX Zonk and then do another crouching light punch into an EX Zonk. Or obviously the last follow-up is to go for stuff like sweep to hope for the crush counter. So for Cody to counterplay your backdash, he either have to do something that is unsafe or waste an EX bar. So the situation after a backdash isn't good for Cody either. So you can backwalk, you can backdash. One of the other options that you can do is certainly just V-reversal, right? And if you want to V-reversal Cody EX Zonk, make sure that you are V-reversaling the first hit. There is not really much he can do about this, except if he have his V-trigger, right? Then he gets to V-trigger activate and sway you, but regularly he can't really stop you from V-reversaling the first hit. Now he lost one EX bar, he is back again outside where he needs to use an EX Zonk to approach you again. He got some grey hills as damage, so it's not fantastic for him. At best he's pretty much baiting your V-reversal, but that again isn't really rewarding for him. As a get-in tool, this isn't successful, right? Now, the other element that you wanna make sure of is to not V-reversal the second hit. If you try to V-reversal the second hit, Cody will get to block, and if he have V-skill 2, he here will get to sway and punish you. So if you ever intend to V-reversal, make sure to V-reversal the first hit only, right? Now another thing that you have to be very careful of is that EX Zonk means that Cody is holding a punch button, right? So if he is holding the jab, this means that he can't jab check, so like you get to dash in on him, and he can't get to throw. If he is holding the medium, it means that he can't V-skill, right? And if he's holding the heavy, it means that he can't anti-air. How do you know if the opponent is charging an EX Zonk, right? Well, it's really easy, to be honest. The tendencies of Cody players when they are charging Zonk is that they will abuse attacks like his standing heavy kick, right? they will be doing a lot of jumps and a lot of kick normals in general, right? If you see the Cody doing a lot of standing medium kick, a lot of standing heavy kick and all of that, know that they are charging zonk. Another way that you can figure out that the opponent is charging for a zonk is by paying close attention to his fireballs, right? Notice that Cody has 3 different fireballs, and not only do they move different distances, the shape of the projectile is actually different, right? This is the light one, it's kind of diagonal, the high end is towards Cody, the medium one is completely horizontal, the heavy one is also diagonal but the high end is towards Rose, right? So if Cody is charging a level 2 zonk because it's massively rewarding on hit, he have to charge this for 5 seconds. He will not just sit there and not do anything for 5 seconds, right? He will have to do something. So he will be doing a lot of fireballs, and if you see the same fireball coming over a couple of times in a row, know that he is going for that level 2 zonk. So you will have to prepare for it. If he is holding zonk a lot, if you're fighting against someone and they constantly are holding like level 2 zonk, this means that you can get to jump on them, you can get to dash on them, because they are giving up an option for that level 2 charge. So let's now talk about yet another element of Cody that seems totally ridiculous at first, but once you actually get to know the matchup more and how to fight against him, you will see a lot of room for counterplay. I'm talking about his anti-air game. Obviously he have options like standing heavy punch and V-skill 1 that seems totally ridiculous on the surface, but once you actually get to understand how they function, your opinion will change a little bit. Let's first talk about his standing heavy punch. Cody's standing heavy punch is a pretty reliable anti-air, right? It will deal a decent amount of damage, maybe like 70 to 90 depending on which hit he happened to land. But he doesn't get a fantastic situation after it, right? It's hard for him to like walk up and throw the opponent. He doesn't get a cross-up right-left mix-up. At best, he get a situation like that where he throw it and then throw a fireball and get to shake you, right? That's it, yeah. You get to be shaked by the fireball, and that is pretty much it. So the reward on hit on the standing heavy punch is not really high, doesn't cause any float or juggle state either, it's just the single hit. Now one of the main issues with his standing heavy punch is the fact that it gets empty jumps, right? It's very susceptible to empty jumps actually. Because it's a heavy as well, it have a lot of whiff recovery, so your opponent can almost always land and full combo punish you. So it's something that you have to be careful of when you are using Cody and when you are fighting against Cody. If Cody is anti-airing you with heavy punch every time, know that this is a counterplay option. Here Cody will have to use the heavy kick Ruffian to anti-air, but obviously this is a lot harder, right? And next up, Cody also have a blind spot when it comes to anti-airs. If the opponent is jumping over Cody as a cross-up like that, he can't really anti-air them without jumping back, right? But his standing heavy punch will whiff and he will get hit by the cross-up. Now you might tell me, well Mura, he has the V-skill 1 and V-skill 1 will anti-air from both sides. And that is true, but what you have to know is that V-skill 1, the second hit is painfully slow. I think it's like 20 plus frames of startup until the second hit kicks in. This means that if the opponent is doing an empty jump cross up, they get to block here and Cody get crush countered, right? So the Rose gets to block and Cody get crush countered and he already lost some gray health, and then on top of it he's gonna eat a crush counter combo. So now we're talking about a character that doesn't get rewarded on an anti-air. The standing heavy punch can get empty jumped, the V-skill 1 can get empty jumped, and he have a blind spot when it comes to cross up, so he's gonna have to rely on jump back jab, jump back medium or jump back attacks in general to just stop you from being able to cross him up. So what's left is obviously his V-Trigger 2, how you can defend against it and how you can reduce your risks of being robbed by this V-Trigger 2. Because if Cody got a good sequence going, it can lead to a ton of damage and it can lead to a possible round loss. First of all, let me show you one of the first things that people struggle against when they are fighting against Cody. A lot of players don't know what to do when Cody is just throwing the rocks in their face like that, right? Many will have the initial instinct of to just jump and then they get hit by the rocks going upwards or get hit by his swing itself. What you want to do here is honestly just sweep him, right? If Cody is doing this in front of you, walk forward and go for the sweep. You will get the crush counter. The rocks will hit you, yes, like you will lose like 40 damage because of the rocks, but the trade is massively in your favor, right? You will do 100 plus damage, get the crush counter sweep into the hard knockdown, and you will lose like 40 damage, so it's a very favorable trade in my opinion. The other thing that you can do is to use your anti-fireball tools. For example, if Cody is doing this, even this is like the perfect toss, you can simply use your anti-fireball tools. That might be your super, that might be for someone like Poison, EX Love Me Tender. You can even like V-shift this, right, and then like go back and get back at him. So there are a lot of options here, but I would recommend just using your anti-fireball tools when you see him swing like that. Or if you have a fireball, maybe use your fast fireballs like an EX fireball or whatever to simply knock him out of it, right? So anti-fireball tools are strong against this as well, if you're at a distance where you don't really get to sweep him. One of the other things that Cody can do in this V-trigger is to make stuff that is usually unsafe safe by cancelling into the swing. The target combo is typically minus 13, however here if you try to take back your turn, even on his 3 frame, you will trade with his swing, right? This is obviously pretty nice, but there are options. Here for example with Poison you can go for invincibility, so it's like you can mash your super, this 9 frame startup. If he doesn't do the swing, you will get the punish anyways, and if he does it, invincibility will beat it, or you can V-shift now, right? And with the V-shift, you also get to punish. So if he's doing sweep into it, if he's doing target combo into the swing, if he's doing anything that is unsafe into the swing, you can always V-shift and you will get a punish on him, right? Now what's left is being able to protect yourself against his command grab, and this will take some time to explain. Cody's command grab have really short range, so he can't really take into it except from the crouching light punch, right? If he's doing any other light into the command grab, he doesn't really get to tick. So what you need to know here is that for Cody to land this, he have to be very close to you. This means either landing a zonk, right? Or this means landing a light kick ruffian, right? And these are the conditions for him to be able to approach you and be close enough to go for the command grab, right? Even if he does EX zonk, we already said he's out of throw range, so he can't really do much. What you want to do here is, pay close attention to these approaches. For him to combo into the light kick ruffian or to combo into zonk, he need to combo into this from a medium, right? So he can't really jab his way into these sort of situations, right? And other than these knockdowns, he might do something like an EX zonk. So it's like he might get this, and yeah, this might allow him to get close enough to you for the knockdown, but otherwise he's gonna dash or he's gonna jump, right? Or like maybe jump here, be close enough for you to go for the grab. So pretty much what I'm saying is he doesn't have the best conversions or the best ways to get into the grab situation. It's not easy for Cody to combo into the light kick ruffian or to combo into zonk, and otherwise you will have to dash or to jump. So keep close attention to him trying to dash or jump. Remember, he loses his fireball, which is one of his best neutral tools, except he gets the rocks. We just showed you multiple ways that you can deal with them. All that you need to do is check out his jab, make sure to react to his dash with jab, and if he happen to jump, just anti-air him or jump back, meet him in the air. Cody have notoriously bad air to air anyways. And if you do all of that, you will most likely never get hit by the command grab post activation. If you happen to activate on hit, yeah, it will get pretty dangerous, but otherwise if Cody happen to activate on block, there is honestly almost no reason that you should get robbed by this V-trigger. And that is pretty much it for Cody. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a like or a comment, it helps the channel so much. I will be leaving a link to the Patreon page and the Discord server page in the description below. Thank you very much for watching and stay safe.